Holy shit. Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Cloud Massacre, for the 99 cents. Before we even got started, there's a buck in my hand. That's a good feeling. That is a good feeling, let me tell you. How's everybody doing tonight? Hope everyone... Sorry. We could listen to Madtown if you want, but I get the feeling that you're ready for the show to start. Whatever the show may be. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Hello, Dad. Nice to see you as always. You actually put a Lighthouse meme up on the DFF Facebook page with you as Defoe's character. It's 1:28 a.m. I want to sleep, but I have a question. Do you think people should have to work to live? Shut up. Go to bed. Go to bed. If that's the question that's really fucking driving you insane right now, you need to go to bed. Bonsoir, mon ami. Comment ça va? I have seen Parasite, yes. I really... I don't want to do the movie talk thing, dude. I had like this exhaustive and kind of exhausting movie talk with TJ and Scotty for a piece of content we did for patrons. It was a good conversation, I think, but I felt like mentally drained at the end of it, and I really don't want to talk movies, so sorry to limit the scope of the conversation tonight, but I'm not really in a movie talk mood. Want to talk about girls instead? We can talk about whatever you guys want that isn't like, what do you think of this movie? What do you think of that movie? Like normally, you know, I indulge that because I like it, but I've talked enough and thought enough about films this week. Hello, hello, hello.
What it do? What it do?
Favorite popcorn flavor? Popcorn flavored popcorn. What are you talking about? Flavored popcorn is for like wine moms and shit, dude. Movie theater popcorn. That's popcorn. Any video games you're looking forward to? Cyberpunk in a limited way. I'm not super like overly stoked for Cyberpunk, but kettle corn, yeah, but that's different. Kettle corn is like the dessert movie popcorn. That's fine. Those are the two acceptable popcorns. Anything else is just like artsy fartsy artisan bullshit. I suspect the same Flash Bash that Cyberpunk is probably not going to live up to people's overhyped fucking expectations of it. I still hold out a little hope that it'll be like playable and cool, but I don't expect it to be like a Skyrim level fucking knock your socks off kind of genre defining type of game. I just don't see that happening. What do you think of Shane Dawson getting canceled? He did. Okay, so the last time I tuned in to Shane Dawson doing anything, he was teaming up with Jeffree Star to do his own makeup palette. And I actually watched his stupid documentary about it. But then what did he do? What did he say? Which alphabet people did he offend? Paul, why not go to South America and do ayahuasca? Because I don't want to get like Zika and COVID in South America. I haven't really heard anything about the Tom Hanks accusations other than like just he was accused of being inappropriate or whatever the fuck. So I don't care, honestly. It just seems like, I don't know. The whole like people's sexual indiscretions. Like if he raped somebody, then put him on trial. But if he made somebody uncomfortable or something once, like, yeah, he shouldn't do that. But I just don't care beyond that. Dawson is the George Carlin of our era. That's that, dude. If that's true, your era sucks. Imagine if these uptight, over-offended Zoomers saw all the stuff that was on YouTube in the early days. Fuck YouTube. Like, imagine if they saw the shit that, like, happens out in the real world. Dude, I saw way crazier shit. Well, maybe not crazier shit than you can find on the internet, but, dude, there's some insane shit going on not online. You know what I mean? But yeah, early YouTube was the Wild West. Yeah, dude, I saw the worst thing I ever saw on the internet probably was like some Russian mob hit where they killed a guy with a chainsaw. And like that pretty much, like, now that I've seen that, I don't ever, like, there's nothing, I don't click on that shit anymore because it's like, was it up close? Yes. It was a dude sitting in a chair, like tied to the chair with a sack over his head. And there's like dudes speaking Russian. They're like, and they smack him around a little bit. And then I think if they pull the sack off his head, they smack him around some more, and they just keep, and then at some point they just pull out a chainsaw and like just like start right at his neck and kill him. Is that actual Russian? Yes. I speak fluent Russian. Backwards talking. So I saw one of those, and then I've seen like people, like, in the early days of YouTube, you'd find like these injury compilations sometimes where it's like, and you can still find them other places probably, and probably on YouTube for all I fucking know. A lot of like skaters like trying to, man, I'm gonna fucking skate this rail. And it's like some horribly steep, long fucking staircase. And they fall off halfway through and their ankle just snaps and you hear it. And it's all and they're like, ah, bro, my fucking ankle, dude. And you're just like, oh my fucking God. So like in the early days of YouTube and the internet at large, I saw enough of that shit to where like I completely avoid it now. That's all I ever need to see. I remember there was a game once. There was a fucking football game that was brutal. Some dude fucking just his leg just bent backwards. And they kept showing it and showing it from every angle and shit. It was years ago, man. I can't remember like the dude. But his fucking leg just it was just like, okay. And then they kept showing it on TV, and I was like, I gotta go. Like, I can't watch it. Like, some people, it doesn't bother. Like, it doesn't bother some people. Some people are completely fucking desensitized to it and shit. Like, I'm pretty sure TJ can watch any of that shit. I'm pretty sure my girlfriend would be fine watching it. She, like, in school to, you know, like, be a funeral director. So she's cool with dead bodies and body parts and shit, I'm sure. But, yeah, I can't do it. It's like there's this empathy thing. Why don't your GF ever come on your streams? Because I think we've chosen together to not be like super integrated, to kind of keep you know, the relationship out of the spotlight 99% of the time. So yeah. I've done the other way around. Like, I've had the super, like, hey, here's me and here's my girlfriend and blah, 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 blah. And we do everything. And it's not nice, the things that people will say. So I'd just rather avoid that. Makes perfect sense. There's a lot of creeps out there. I mean, yeah, sure. I don't know. It's just not something that I'm interested in blending with my fucking work and shit. Did you see that pic of Vosh's naked girlfriend? No, I didn't. Yeah, it seems it would be destructive. I mean, like, I don't know, dude. I think in some cases maybe it isn't, but I don't know. I like having my private life, and then I like having this, if that makes sense. And it took a long time for me to learn to not try and blend the two too much. And so I have a private life, and then I have this. Now, my girlfriend mods in here sometimes, but she's low-key about it. She hangs out. She makes comments. A lot of people don't even know it's her. She's a specter. She, you know, has a Twitter, and she fucking posts in the subreddit sometimes and shit. But we just don't, like, post pictures of ourselves everywhere, and she doesn't come running in and out of my streams whenever, and just the way it is. it took me a while to learn that because, like, I got to be honest with you. I've always been like, I think one of the things that people I've been friends with and I'm still friends with find attractive about me as a person is that I'm like an open book. I'll tell you anything about me. I'll share anything about my life with you. I don't care. Like, when I'm friends with somebody, that sense of privacy is very thin. And when I started to do the whole internet shit for real, when like DP started to really blow up and I was on it and was like, whoa, my inclination was, let's just share it all. Here's my whole fucking private life and blah. Look at me. You know, and I had to learn the hard way that you just probably shouldn't do that, you know? See, when I was a kid, they didn't prepare us for shit like that. Hopefully in school they're telling you about people would speak nasty on Ashley a lot. I mean, that was the least of it. Like, see, that's the thing is, like, she was more from the internet than me. Like, I spent most of my childhood with no internet. She was, like, born on it. So the mean shit bothered me more than it bothered her. And eventually, once I saw that it didn't bother her, it didn't bother me. It's just more like not having any privacy at all. Like, not, you know what I mean? Like, pictures of everything you do and every meal you, not, and it was never this bad, but you know what I mean? Like, I had to put up a barrier. I was like, when I'm in front of the webcam or whatever, I'm here. And, you know, Amelia sometimes comes in and she'll bring me something to eat, or she'll bring Cricket over here to play with me or something, but we're just not. I think there was like an outdoor stream where she came and she sat, we talked, but it's just not going to be like, I don't want to have a social media relationship. Does that make sense? Like, I don't want to have a relationship that's out there in front of Twitter and pictures and shit and blah, 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 and memes. And, like, I just don't want that. Because she's underage. She's young, but she's not underage. Everybody's young in comparison to me, though, except for the women that are my age. And let me tell you something about that. My mom came at me with this shit because, you know, Ashley was a good deal younger than me when I got with her. And the same is true of Amelia. And so it's like 2 in a row. And my mom's like, Peaches, let me tell you something. She tells me a bunch of shit I already know. Right? She gives me the mom advice or whatever. And would you date a 40-year-old woman? Yes. And like, so let's wipe the slate clean. Let's assume I'm single and shit. Yes, I would totally date somebody in my age range. I'm not. Here's the thing. So I listened to my mom. She did have a Peaches, why don't you bring that plate of cobbler over here? Do you want a beer? Mama, we'll grab you a beer. Come sit with Mama. Have a seat, Peaches. And I was like, oh no. I want to tell you something, and I do not want you to be offended. Because you know we love Amelia. That's how she says her name, Amelia. You know we love Amelia. This was real early on, and I was like, and she gives me the whole spiel. People change a lot as they grow and blah, 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 blah. And who she is now may not be who she is when she's in 30. And by the time she's your age, you're going to be fucking 80. And, like all the shit that has already gone through your head when you date somebody that's younger than you. Your mom a Southern woman? Well, she's not born and raised in the South, but both of her parents were from the deep South. Her dad was from Arkansas, and her mom was from Oklahoma. And so she was, and she still carries those two accents, coupled with this generalized kind of country accent that's developed in Central California, which is kind of a little sprinkle of Texas. It's like, the South kind of came to Central California and set down some roots. So, but yeah, she's got a pretty thick, pretty noticeable accent, so I've been told. But I play it up a lot when I impersonate her, too. So, a bunch of people don't tip me via food delivery, but I always make sure to tip you, Paul. Dude, I always tip the people. Like, I use DoorDash. I always make sure I'm throwing down that tip. Because that's fucked up. Like, people that don't tip in, like, service industries and shit. Come on, man. So anyway, she went through her spiel, right? And I listened because I respect my mom. And she wasn't mean about it, but she was just like, I just don't know if it'll work. And I said, listen, Mom, I'm 40 years old. I'm unmarried. I'm not going to get married again. Like I told my mom way back when, even before I was married the first time, I said, this is a one and done thing. Like, I get married one time and then, you know what I mean? Once bitten, twice shy. I'm done with that. So, number one, point me at a single 40-year-old woman that doesn't want to get married. Okay? She started talking and I said, wait. Okay, so let's say you find one. Point me at a single 40-year-old woman that is going to be okay moving all over the United States and possibly all over the world with me and my stoner friends as we run our little circus of a fucking show. Find me a 40-year-old woman that not only doesn't ever want to get married, doesn't want to have any kids, doesn't already have kids, because that's a big no-no. I will not fucking, like, that's just a personal thing with me. If you've got children, we're not dating. We're not even going to fucking go on a date. We're not even going to hook up. I'm not interested. I'm not at the point in my life where I'm trying to be somebody's fucking dad. So it's a non-starter. Even if they already fucking moved out, I don't want to deal with the politics of an adult fucking son coming in and I'm the fucking stepdad. Like, nope. I just know myself too well. There are people that can fucking handle that shit. Thank goodness. Because there'd be a lot of fucking fatherless children running around if there weren't dudes out there that are willing to fucking step into that role. But it ain't me, so the list of criteria continues to grow. 40-year-old woman that doesn't want to get married, doesn't want to have children, and doesn't already have children, and is willing to leave her career or move her career all over the fucking country and possibly the world in pursuit of folly with me and my merry band of stoners. If you can find one, you know what I mean? She kind of backed off after that. So yeah, that was enough. That was enough to illustrate to her why me dating women on the younger end of the spectrum makes sense. When you're in your 20s, moving around the fucking country is cool. I did it in my 20s. Compatibility. And look, then they're like 30, 35, and they go, bye, Grandpa. You know what I mean? And they go live there. What am I going to do? Be mad about it? It's just, at some point, in other words, you're 20 at heart. Fuck no. I'm straight out 40 at heart. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the way that I live, if I want to have somebody that lives with me, that I love, and we take care of each other, it's way more likely to be somebody that's in college or just out of college, not like settled into a career yet, willing to fucking move around and travel and try different things. What age am I mentally? Like 90. Like 90. Maybe 100. So I went through it all. I tried to have kids for years and genuinely, honestly wanted them. I'm not going to be one of these guys that was like tells you down the road, like, I never really wanted it anyway. Like, no. I was in the age range. The timing was right. We were making enough money. Everything was in place for me to become a dad. And it didn't happen. That was many fucking years ago. And I'm in a very different place mentally now than I was then. Hey, Gabriel Sutherland, if you keep checking your watch in here, I'm going to have one of my specters escort you to the fucking door. The same goes for anybody announcing their arrival or departure. There's a very long-standing unspoken rule about that as well. Begging for a block doesn't work, Bloom Rage. Don't try it. I'll instantly revoke a block beggar. Now, you might get timed out, but you're not getting blocked. No town criers. Hear ye, hear ye. This stream is now boring, and I am leaving. Welp, I'm out. Hear ye, hear ye. I just got here, guys. What's going on? Hear ye, hear ye. It's 5 a.m., Paul Zigo. Show me your driving license situation there, Paul. It is funny, though. People will straight up treat you like my dad. The last time we spoke, he referred to Ashley, who was, I want to say she was like 23 when we started dating. 22? Anyway, he said she was 16. And I was like, whoa. He wrote that to me. He was like, quit embarrassing yourself with your 16-year-old girlfriend. I was like, see, the funny thing is like, he married my mom when she was 16. So I think he set the projector up. Because that's the truth of the situation. My mom has pulled me aside multiple times and asked me why I don't date. Sweetie, I'll be frank. I get more action than you, and that's just sad. She says that to you? Damn. Your mom's pretty fucking savage with you. That's pretty harsh. Like, that's usually reserved for your dude buddies. You know what I mean? Your guy buddies. Age is just a number, and a maximum security federal prison is just a location. That sounds like something that somebody would post on a Facebook. Why does that sound like a straight out Facebook like meme that made its way into my chat? I'm looking good today. Thanks. I have that tattooed on my ribs. What? Bruh, if your mom has to say that, it's time you listened. I mean, yeah. You might want to get out and see the world. You know what I mean? Oh, Liam, thank you. What a kindness you've done to me here, sir. Oh, Liam, you've no idea the kindness you've extended to me, Liam. I shall be forever in your debt, Liam, for the £5, the €5. Yeah, but his name is Liam. Yeah. So how do I use you guys as an army to get myself legit voice acting work? What do I do? Amongst one of the couple hundred or less of you that are in here, there has to be like a director of stuff that needs voice acting, right? You need an agent. I need an agent? How do I get one of those? Make a portfolio, put videos up of you in action. Yeah. Have somebody cut out some of my like bits that I do where I do the different voices and shit. Voice work in New Orleans. Well, I'll fly or take a fucking train or drive or whatever the fuck. I mean, fuck, dude. There's no drive too long. Pretend you're auditioning to be the new Solid Snake. The new Solid Snake. Okay, so they've rebooted it, and David Hayter is not involved, and they're like rebooting the whole character. So you don't want to go for a snake imitation, but you want to keep a little bit of snake in everything you say. Just a touch. Colonel, I'm standing outside now. You could give him a southern accent, but I don't think so. I don't think you need to. See, what I was just doing, I think... Yep. I need the exfiltration coordinates, Colonel. I'm out of diazepam. Ugh. There's the snake getting hit. Not iconic enough. Okay. What does it need? Snake with a lisp. Colonel, I'm standing outside. I need the exfiltration coordinates. What if he just had, like, more of a normal voice? Okay, what if we ditched the whole grimdark thing and went with a different version of Snake? Colonel, this is Snake. Keep a little bit of Hater in it, just like right towards the back of the throat. Colonel, this is Snake. I need those exfiltration coordinates. I found 17 doses of diazepam. Call me Snake. Colonel, I need like those map things that tell me like where to go. 'Cause like I'm lost. For God's sake, Snake. Did you just say for God's snake? No, I said for God's sake, Snake. You said snake twice. Shut up. That could be done. Beavis can be Otacon. Hey, butthole. What do you want, dumbass? There's like something in that locker over there. Like some chick that used to work here. She had real big boobs. Oh, yeah? Is it like her bra? No. It's like, it's like, you know, a clue. A clue? Like, what kind of clue? Why can't you just tell me? Because you gotta find the clue. Yeah, but like, you know what the clue is, don't you?
Well, I mean, like, yeah, but you gotta, like, read the note.
Why do I gotta read the note? Why can't you just tell me what's...
Just read the fucking note, dumbass.
Dude, this is, yeah, we could do this. Beavis and Butthead, but Solid Snake. Mickey Mouse Snake. Colonel, this is Snake. I'm ready to infiltrate the base. How many enemy units are inside?
Snake, there are 42 men, at least.
Why
are you making that noise, Snake?
What noise, Colonel?
Never mind.
All right, I'm gonna go kill them all now. I mean, sneak right past them. Snake is a high-pitched elderly woman with a drinking issue.
Now listen, Colonel. I'm here at the dang gum thing that you told me.
Say it again, Snake. We didn't get that.
What? What'd you say, Colonel?
I said, could you repeat that last message?
I said, what'd you say?
The one before that.
I said I'm at the dadgum thing.
Does that mean that you've reached the infiltration zone?
Huh?
My lord, I could only muster pocket change tonight. All my apologies. Please spare me of my latest scourging for this, my lord. Nay, you will be scourged twice as hard for your tardiness. Out of my sight with your 669. Which is worse, one person getting tortured for 50 years or an infinite number of people getting a dust speck in their eyes? Fuck me, dude. You got me. I don't know. I would do Snake as a Vietnamese street worker, but that would get me banned from YouTube probably, so can't do that. Sorry. No, dude. Yeah, no one cares these days at all. It's only a matter of time. I've already told you guys, like, I'm cancel bait. It's only a matter of time. I said shit on DP alone weekly that's total cancel bait for sure. I have to go on the apology tour and everything. That's going to be great. What kind of apology tour would you guys like to see me run when that happens to me? Should I just double down or pretend to apologize? Should I make a joke apology and hope everybody buys it? A sobbing, quivering tour. Yeah. And that's a possibility. We can do that. Maximum crocodile tears. Oh, man. Apologizes Beavis. Hey, everybody. So I said some stuff like, I don't know. People are like pussies about it or whatever. I mean, like, they're like offended, you know. Do a Kevin Spacey coming out apology. Oh shit, yeah. Let's get my pipe. Well. Seems you've all finally figured me out. Scoundrel that I am. Isn't it strange that I lived amongst you for so long? The helpless little flock that you are. Well, here I am. Yes, a scumbag, a misogynist, a racist, everything true. But isn't the fact that I know what I am somewhat endearing to you? We go that route, yeah. Kevin Spacey is good in those short clips. Yeah, he's good, but it's creepy that he's responding to allegations of like misconduct and rape and shit as his character from a show that got canceled because he, you know what I mean? It's very strange. But yeah, he's good in them. He's very Frank Underwood. Oh, I've always said that Spacey will be in another movie. It might take some years. It might be 3, 4, 5 years, but like eventually nobody will care and he'll make a big comeback as an old man character that's real dynamic and for sure. He'll work again. Oy vey, man. My back is a piece of shit. I need to sit up straight. That's what I need to do. If I do that, I've got to like adjust my whole camera. Maybe that's how I'll fucking force myself to do it. Keep the camera right here. If I start slouching, it'll be real obvious in the shot. This feels really weird, but better. It's like you're a yoga instructor. Yeah. I feel it. I feel that very same fucking way. I feel like the yoga instructor that fucks Michael's wife in GTA 5. Looking more feminine today. It's just the hair, dude. My hair does this natural Shirley Temple shit. I'll show you guys in a minute. I gotta off screen something. But yeah, no, my hair just naturally does these like, just a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine. You know, like the little girl from that ringlet curl things. My whole fucking life, I've had women find parts of my face or hair and go like, oh my God, I wish I had your hair. The one I get the most often with ones that know me is, oh my God, I wish I had your eyelashes. It's like, you can fucking have them. Have I ever told you guys the eyelash story, dude? I told it back on DP, I think. So yeah, I probably have told most of you. Paul, I'm ready to fap for the trap. Where's it at? I don't know. What do you think of open individualism, i.e. the idea we are all one consciousness experiencing itself subjectively? I mean, I don't have any negative feelings towards that idea. I don't know that it informs anything about one's personal philosophy and how one navigates through life. It's kind of like a simulation theory, in that even if it's true, it doesn't really matter, you know? So, yeah, so long story short, for those that may have not heard it, some girl that I used to have a crush on back in grade school ended up in one of my high school classes, and she sat next to me in Spanish class. And she ended up paired up with me, so we had to work together. And we were doing some work, and she looked at me and she said something about my eyelashes, like how pretty they were. She's like, "Oh my God, you have the longest eyelashes. I couldn't tell because they're so blonde, but like, oh my God, they're so long." And I was like, "Oh, these things." And I reached up to just kind of like touch my eyelashes, but I twitched and I grabbed them and I pulled out just like a quarter row of the top lid of my left eyelash. You know what I mean? And she was horrified. She was like, she had a look on her face like I had literally jumped on the desk and pulled my pants down and taken a shit and then turned around and jerked off into the shit in the middle of class. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't even approximate it for you guys. Like, I couldn't even, I'll try. It was something like, and she just held it, and I held the fucking eyelashes there, like, you know, and she was on the other end of this transaction, like, looking at them like, and so I didn't know what to do. And so I just went like, my mind like went blank for a second, and I realized I have to do something to try and play this off. And so let me show you guys what I did. She never spoke to me again. Smooth, I know, right? Great recovery. Makes you sound like a psychopath. That's probably what she thought I was. I don't blame her. See, I'm already slouching. Already slouching, dude. Fuck. It's gonna be hard. I know exactly what happened to her. She's a school teacher now. So here's to make matters worse. When I worked for the school district, she ended up being a teacher at one of the schools right around the time I quit. One of the last schools that I was in charge of before I quit. So yeah, we had that uncomfortable professional interaction, but I could tell all she could think about when she looked at me. When she looked at White Guilt Paul, you know what I mean? Was like, that's Eyelash Boy. Oh my fucking God, it's Eyelash Boy. He's like some computer dork out here now. Oh my God. I could just hear her thoughts, you know what I mean? But whatever, she was always nice to me. She didn't like treat me like shit or anything. So... No, trust me. The embarrassment of facing her was the least horrible thing about my job. At the time I left, the entire thing had gone to utter shit. It had fallen to pieces in front of me. It was so you guys have heard of the old meme that happens, right? When there's an old person that runs a company and they die or retire and they pass the reins on to somewhere else, everything goes to shit and the company goes to shit, right? You guys have heard this, of course. You know, it's a movie trope and a life trope for a reason, because it's true. It's oftentimes true, and that's exactly what happened at the school district when it came to my department. For like some absurd time, like 30 years, the same old guy had run the department, and he had gone from these weird fucking tape reading computers to modern computers, but he'd somehow managed to keep it all running. He kept everything going. He kept, because he was understaffed, so he kept the guys happy. Everything was great. It was gravy train, the best it could be. Now, it was still hard ass fucking work, but it was just like, there wasn't this constant like seething pressure and horrible shit hanging over everything. And then he retired. And I should have quit that day, because the boss that replaced him was absolutely fucking insane. Dude, I'll tell you guys a story. So if you've ever worked a job for a long time and then had a boss be replaced, the anxiety amongst everybody is fucking palpable. It's like fucking, you cut it with a knife. And everybody, when you get together for staff meetings and shit, there's always like this, who the fuck is the boss? You guys met the boss? So we got word that the boss was going to be a lady. Here's what we knew about her. She was a lady. She was from the Bay Area. She was working in the Bay Area as a deputy director of technology services. And then she was moving from there to here to be the director of technology services. That's all we knew. And we were like, not that I think it really matters, Coolman. Like, it's something that I mentioned back then that I probably wouldn't mention now when I'm telling the story. But yes, as it turns out, she was a lesbian. I don't really think that plays a role. It certainly didn't play a role from my perspective. But it's an odd piece of trivia about her. Anyway, dude, look at this slouch. It's slowly happening. Okay. Anyway, the first thing that we hear about her, so we all go, like, there's like a week of transitional time, and there's this weird meeting that happens where the old boss comes in and the new boss is there. So we're all meeting her for the first time. And the old boss stands up and he gives this, like, he wasn't the type for like over sentimental stuff. So we didn't get that from him. But we got like his, hey, you guys are all great. You're going to be fine. You know, just keep doing what you've always done and you'll be fine, you know, that type of thing. And we all clapped and we had a retirement cake or some shit for him. It was the weirdest shit because everybody's staring at this woman that's never said a word to any of us as she like sits and eats cake at a table. And we're like, and then she gets up and she gives a totally benign speech. She's like, look, she's like, clearly, you know, the gentleman that's retiring, I won't use his name. I'll use a different name. Clearly, Wilbur knows what he's doing. He's told me, we've sat and talked extensively about each of you, and he's told me that each of you is a real asset to the department, and I believe him. I don't want to come in here like King Kong and change everything. That's not my intent. I just want to keep things running. You know, it was like kind of like a little bit of everything that we wanted to hear. And then right at the end, she says, now, I will tell you that I have a vision for this department, and I've shared it with Wilbur, and we'll talk about that in the coming weeks and days and months. But yeah, I'm happy to be here and blah, 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 blah. And so we all were like, is that good? She has a vision. So anyway, there's like 2 or 3 days that go by where it's like the time that she's moving. So the department is basically headless at this point. Wilbur has retired. And Katrina hasn't showed up yet. Katrina's a perfect name. It's not her actual name, but it's a perfect name. Katrina has not showed up yet. Wilbur has retired. So we just kept on doing what we were doing. We were like, dun, 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 you know, just going about it was in the summertime, so all the classes were out and everything, so we were doing our cleaning and fucking moving around of computers and moving of computer labs and blah, blah, blah. That's exactly what I was doing, actually. I was in the middle of that when Wilbur retired, right? I was in the middle of taking this old computer lab, tearing it down, throwing away a lot of the old equipment for it, and taking what was useful and combining it with new equipment into a bigger computer lab at one of the sites. That was my big project for the summer. And so I was in the midst of that, and I was almost finished with it when I get this phone call. And I look on the phone, and it says Wilbur. But the number is the number from the district office. So it's somebody sitting in Wilbur's office calling me. So I'm like, boop. Hello, this is Paul. And this is exactly what was said. Yes, Paul, this is Katrina. I'm in the district office today. I'll be needing to see you in about a half an hour to 45 minutes. We can have a light lunch if you'd like here at the district office, but I would rather we just, so you're going to need to pick me up and you're going to take me on a tour of your sites. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's not a problem. I will be there. And do you want me there in you said 30 or 40. She said, be here in 45 minutes. I said, okay. Click, click. I was like, so I will admit, because it didn't take 45 minutes to get from my school site to the district office. So I will admit that the 30 minutes that I had that I could have continued working were spent doing exactly what I was just doing. Like I sat in a chair that was meant for a student to sit in while they worked at a computer, because I was working on a student computer lab. And I just... for about 20 minutes. And then I went and got in my car. I made my way downtown. And I pulled up to the front of the district office. And there she is. She's standing out there when I pull up. Now, I was like 6 minutes early, because you don't show up even fucking on time for shit like that. Like, I was like a good 6 minutes early, because I knew exactly where Wilbur's old office was. So my plan was park the car, walk right in the front door, say hi to the receptionist, get buzzed in, go right to Wilbur's office. That takes me like 30 seconds. So I was she's standing out there. She's got a cruller or a donut or something in one hand, and like a single cup of coffee, and she's drinking the coffee. And so I pull up, and I roll down the window, and she sees me, and she just starts walking over. And she opens the door to my car, which, thank fucking goodness, I had cleaned not that long ago, because my car, especially when I worked this job, tended to like pile up with like cigarette boxes and all kinds of stuff. And so she sat down in my car and closes the door. And she goes, I'll leave it up to you which school you want to go to first. I don't really know the layout yet. I'm still learning. And she finishes up her cruller. You know what I mean? And takes another sip. And I'm like, okay. And so I start to pull out, and she goes, do you smoke here in the car? And I said, yeah, I'm a smoker, so yes, I smoke in my car. I'm sorry if it smells bad. I can crack the window for you. She said, no, it's fine. I was just wondering. You know, it's a bad habit, but I'm sure you've heard that. And I was like, yes, ma'am, you know. Oh, don't call me ma'am. Call me Katrina. Okay, Katrina. You know, as I'm driving down the road to my first site. So anyway, I get to my first site, and I ask her, what is it exactly that you'd like to see? And she said she wanted to see some classrooms. So I took her into some classrooms, and she just kind of like walked around with her hands clasped behind her back. You know what I mean? Like, And I was like, yeah, this is the row of student computers here in this classroom. And, you know, they're old, but this is what this school can afford. She wanted to see the labs at all the schools. So I took her to, like, 2 of my schools had really finished nice labs, because I had done them the summer before and maintained them throughout the year and cleaned them up and shit at the beginning of the summer before I started work on the big lab that I was redoing. So anyway, I showed her the lab, and, you know, once again, yeah, and I showed her how it was networked and how everything worked, and yeah, and I showed her where the server room and my office was. Oh, yes, okay. All right, I'm ready to go to the next site. I said, okay. So we walked back into my car. She got back in, and I drove to my next site, and the same thing happened there. It was because the next site was the same. I took her to and I say the worst site because it was the site where the lab was still kind of torn up. Like, it wasn't finished yet. But I still had like 2.5 weeks to finish this lab up and everything else that I had to do at this school. But there was shit that needed to be done at the school. It was my last little bit of work for the summer. You know what I mean? Site number 2 does the same thing. Walks around, yes. Doesn't really comment about anything. If she does comment, it's like, these computers seem very old. And I say, yeah, they are. You know, the sites really don't have the money to upgrade to newer machines. Some of the classrooms have newer machines. I can show you those. Oh, yes, show me that. So I take her to like the upper grade classrooms, like the 6th grade and 5th grade classrooms, which typically got like first dibs on whatever. Anyway, it was just normal. And then I took her to the 3rd site, and I was like, okay, here we go. Went into a few classrooms, and I took her into finished classrooms because I wasn't like going to take her into classrooms that were still torn up. But we walked by one, and she saw computers all over the fucking place. Old ones on the floor and shit. And she was, can we go in there? And I said, yeah. And so I used my key. I let her in, and she just walked in front of me, and she was like, oh. Well, this is just, you know, I understand. You're probably working. Are you working on this today? And I was like, this room today? No, I was working in the new lab today. I was finishing that up. That's really my focus. And then this is just, you know, I'm gonna put it's so I can clean the tables and replace the machines that are broken with. She goes, you should be working on this today. There should never be a classroom that looks like this. And I was like, fair enough. It'll be done today. No big deal. She walks out and she goes, take me to the lab. You said you were working on the lab. Let's go see what you were working on today. And I said, okay. So at the time I was setting up actually 2 labs. So it was a split lab right across from each other in these portables that faced each other at the back of the school. 2 big portables, normally meant for big classrooms, full of brand new computers. I had unboxed. I mean, I don't know if you guys understand what goes in. Like, if you get a new computer, you know how it's a pain in the ass to, like, remove all the packaging and get everything set up right and blah, 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 blah. Imagine doing that 300 times, and that's how it is to set up a split computer lab. It's about 100 machines in each, and then 50 extra machines that have to be wired in, and it's fucking crazy, right? I had done the bulk of the work. All the machines were on the desks. They weren't networked yet, but all the cables were fucking cut to the right lengths. It was just waiting, like I was wiring that day. So I'd had a couple of machines wired, and I was working my way down the fucking line. She walks in, and it's like the fucking... the air went out of the room. It was like... She was like, this is unacceptable. And I was like, well, yeah, I agree. It's not going to work at all. This was my big project this summer was, see, because they used to have one lab and it was in one of these other buildings, but now it's in here. And it's actually, there's a lab over here as well that's in a similar state, but this is my big project right now. This is what I've been doing the last couple of weeks, is unboxing and setting up these machines and moving the tables, and you know, I put the switches on the walls, and I cut the you know, and I could just tell she wasn't hearing any of it. And she asked me, what was the question she asked? Oh, She asked me this question about the server. And it was some like technical question. I can't remember what it is. I'm not going to be able to remember what it is. But it was some technical question that she thought we had a Windows server, but we had Mac server. We had like these big, like we called them pizza box Mac servers. They were like we would get two of them, and there was a master and slave server, and so that's what we had. These big racked Mac servers. She asked me some technical question that was about Windows servers, and I told her, I said, that doesn't apply. Like, that isn't a part of our server. It was something about the security. That's what it was. It was something about the security of the security of the fucking computer lab. And she asked if I had a certain setting turned on the server. But it was that was a Windows server setting, and I said, no, that doesn't apply to our server. You don't have that turned on. Okay, I've seen enough. Let's go back to my office and have a talk. And I was like, so I took her back to her office. Didn't say a word to me the whole ride back. Stayed on her phone. We got to her office, and she sat down, and she was like, "You're doing really good. And you got some problems over there at, X school site. That I really hope that classroom is taken care of by the end of the day, as well as both of those labs wired up. But you're doing a really good job, and I just wanted to let you know that, hey, this is me. I'm Katrina." And I was like, all right, thank you. I'm going to go get to work. And that was that. That was the first meeting, and every single one of us got that. They were like, I'm trying to think how many of us were working then. Let me just do a quick count in my head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There were 10 of us or so. There might have been 1 or 2 more, but my memory says 10. And each one of us got the same thing over the course of that week. And we're all texting each other and shit in the group text, like, what the fuck, man? What is this? Oh, dude, the psyop continues. It was like a month later. She was still brand new. She pulls me in again. She calls me in for a meeting, which, by the way, incidentally, Wilbur never did because he knew it was a waste of my time. But anyway, she calls me in for a meeting, and she tells me, Paul, your passion isn't fixing computers and setting up computers. And I said, well, no. She said, I remember you told me, because she had seen me several times since then. I remember you told me you were a theater guy in high school. She goes, we need a trainer, a technology trainer for the district, because people just don't know anything about their computers and they don't know how to use their technology. And we need somebody to oversee the training in the district. And we need somebody to be a trainer, and that's going to be you. And I was like, that. Now, what she was implying was like a huge change in my job. It meant going from like being a tech monkey to being a district office worker with an office and like a budget and like a secretary And she was like, problem is the position doesn't exist yet. So what I'm doing is it's always been my opinion that when there's a position like that and you need it created, it's best to just have somebody start doing it. So what I'm doing is I'm relieving you of 50% of your duties, and the 50% of the time that you are supposed to be at school sites, you are now going to be here at the district office creating a new training program for all teachers and all students and all district office staff on the usage of their machines and their technology. And I was like, huh? But I was like, okay, all right, fair enough. So she's like, yeah, instead of having 3 school sites, you will have 1. You will maintain that school site in the manner that it is accustomed to, and then the time that you would spend at the other 2 school sites, you will be here at the office, and you will be working out of this room. And when this room is in, because she had me working out of meeting rooms and stuff. And then when there were no meetings, and then when there was a meeting, I had to pack up all my shit and move to like the cafeteria for, you know what I mean? And I'm creating these fucking documents, and I'm fucking adding things to the website, and I'm running these trainings that had to be done at the last minute there at the district office for this type of technology or this type of safety or this type of shit. I just get this big packet of shit thrown on my desk at the beginning of the day, and by the end of the day, I have to have turned that into a presentation I'm giving tomorrow, and I'm wearing a suit and tie, like a tie to work every day, not a suit, but like a tie with a long sleeve button-up shirt and slacks and the black shiny like I was dressing to the nines every fucking day, being a corporate dude, but without an office, and getting paid to do something that I was no longer doing, in hopes that they would create this position for me, right? And so I get pulled. So I did this for months, and I was actually pretty successful in training district office staff, training the teachers, and running some limited trainings at the schools for the teachers so that they could train their kids, because it didn't make any sense for me to be training kids. That's like what a teacher's job description is. So let the teachers teach the kids how to do it. And so that was actually working. I mean, I wasn't fucking perfect at it because I was one dude, but you guys have seen that I can improvise and shit. Like, it's part of my skill set or whatever. So all I really needed to know was how to use the technology myself, and then improvising a big fucking training for 25 teachers on it was fucking easy. On top of that, a lot of the teachers knew me because for the previous 5, 6, 7 years, I was working at their school sites for a lot of them. And they knew me as a guy that knew his shit and was straight up with them and, you know, on time. And so it worked. I had a good thing going. And so I get called into, you guys aren't even going to fucking believe this shit. It's fucking ridiculous how this shit went down. I'm still fucking salty to this day about how this shit went down. So I do this big ass training. I'm tired as fuck. I'm about to sit down and finish out the day working on another fucking training document. Boss calls me in. Excuse me. I need some legal tobacco. So, by the way, I didn't mention this shit either, but Katrina, once I started this training gig, she was totally different with me. She was like the nicest person to me. She sent me to all these fucking like training gigs and like these big cons for educational technology people. I went to a bunch of them with her and a couple other people on the team. And I was just treated like a colleague, you know what I mean? Like, by her. She was like, yeah. No. She was not making me do her job. Well, maybe part of her job, but her job involved way more than what we're talking about. She was definitely within her mandate in her job to establish, or try to establish at the very least, the type of position that I was working. So it made sense. Like, yeah, technically she was responsible for everything, right? She's the fucking IT director, but you get my drift. Did I get a raise? No. The deal was I was going to work, which I was fine with. I was like, whatever. I'm only lifting a quarter of the fucking bullshit that I was lifting before. The rest of the time I get to do something that actually I think works within my skill set. So, you know, and she had told me, she was like, yeah, eventually, like when they create this position, it's going to come with a substantial raise and you're going to have an office here and blah, 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 blah. She told me the whole thing. All you got to do is just do it. So I did. And I jumped through the hoops and I went on the fucking trainings and I went away for a week to do this and I went away for a week to be at this fucking con and I did this and I did that and I did all these trainings and I had all these teachers and I built up good rapport with the whole district office staff and everybody liked me and blah, 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 blah. I did everything I was supposed to do. And she pulls me into her office and she goes, you want the good news or bad news first? And I was like, good news, bad news. I didn't say it like that, but I'm just thinking in my mind like, oh, fuck. And so I always go bad news first because I'm a pessimist. I want to get that out of the way. Bad news. Give me the bad news. How much time has passed since Katrina joined? Less than a year. So I did everything I talked about over the course of about 8 months of a year. And it was about 11 months or something. It was coming up on a year she'd been there. Oh, dude, my life was fucking crazy. I lived in San Francisco for like 3 weeks because she sent me to this fucking insane networking training that was like thousands of dollars. She sent me and 2 other dudes from the department to this 3-week-long training in the fucking middle of downtown San Francisco, and we all had fucking sweet, like not suites, but like sweet little fucking one-man, you know, downtown hotel rooms. I mean, it was fucking crazy how much shit went on in that 8 months of my life. My life was a completely different thing. And it was crazy. It was just crazy. So anyway, she calls me in and she says, all right, bad news. I am moving on. And I'm like, moving on? I've gotten a job offer for blah, 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 blah. I can't even remember what it was, but it was back in the Bay Area, or whatever the fuck. See, you say thank God now, but she was my gravy train at this point. Like at this point, because I was no longer on the tits end of the receiving end of all the bullshit for the tech shit, I was doing basically nothing but the trainings at this point. She was like my best bud. I've gotten a job offer. It's back in the Bay Area, and I'm gonna take it. And so in about 3 months, I'll be transitioning out. And 3 months, so because it had been less than a year, 3 months meant right in the smack dab middle of summer again. And summer, as I've told you guys before, at this job, was the craziest fucking time. It's the time where you tear everything down and rebuild it, and it's fucking insane. It's right in the middle of summer again. And I was like, okay, all right, well, congratulations. It sucks. And she goes, all right, you want the good news? I said, yes. What's the good news? She said, the good news is the job description for the job that you've been working for the last 8 months and change has been written up, and it's been sent to HR, and it's awaiting their approval and your signature, and you will have your job. And I was like, well, how long is that going to take? And she's like, well, in the 3 months left that I have here, it's going to have to go to the board, and the board is going to have to put their stamp on it. And once that's done, it's done. But I'm going to have to go before the board and present the job and show them what you've done. And I've been collecting all that stuff. You know, I've got your, you know, all your documents and all your trainings and all your testimonials. And she said, you don't have to worry about it. I'm going to go before the board and argue for the position, and then they're going to sign off on it. Once they sign off on it, you sign off on it, and you got a contract. And I was like, okay. Well, it never happened. I mean, long story short, the last 3 months she was there, she was barely there. I kept right on doing what I'd always been doing, and she left without me having ever signed a contract. I finally went to HR, right? And because this new dude was coming in, and I wanted to be able to, you know, we heard like through the grapevine about the new dude about a month before she left. And so this new dude was coming through, and I wanted to be able to tell him what I actually did. And so I went to HR and I said, hey, you know, that thing that she sent you guys, that was my job description or whatever, I just need to sign it so that I can take it to the boss and show him what it is. And they handed me the job description of what I had before, which is the normal IT guy that works at the sites. And I was like, no. Katrina sent you guys a new, and she was like, oh, yeah, that. She was like, that never got board approved, honey. And I was like, what does that mean? And she goes, that job doesn't exist. And I was like, fuck. There's no funding for it. I'm going to be expected to run 3 schools. She led me on, yeah. She led me on. So basically, she was using the job, because you can imagine if she was sending me in the 8 months or 9 months that she was really there, I probably went on, I went on 2, I know for sure. I went on 1 long training at Google. I went on 1 super long training in San Francisco, and then I went to 1 giant con. So in the 8 or 9 months that I was there, I went to these 3 very exclusive, expensive, kind of techie insider educational events with her usually. But a couple of times not, actually. Sometimes they were just trainings, just like free ass fucking trainings, which I don't have a fucking lick of college. So I'm sitting in these network trainings that like people who have networking degrees go to learn the minutia of making a fucking Mac server interact with Google and blah 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 blah. And I've never been to, anyway, that was kind of funny. But yeah, no, she tempted me with all that and the ability to do something that I was really good at instead of slogging away at something that I'm just mediocre at. And she used that to keep me from rebelling against her, because she probably could sense in me that I was pissed that she was treating me like shit because I wasn't doing things fast enough for her. So instead of doing that, she just made me her best friend. She made me her little toady at the district office. Oh, yeah, she played me, dude. Like a harp from fucking hell, dude. She played me. And so the new dude that came along, thankfully, I mean, he was a cool dude. He was a young guy, but he knew his shit. And the type of changes that he implemented, like he kind of came in the middle of a crisis. And he was all right. I mean, he was a straightforward dude. He treated me good. But he knew as well as I did that I wasn't going to last long. Like I was already, after the bullshit happened with Katrina, I was already eyeballing like, all right, how do I go back to school or whatever the fuck? You know what I mean? He was a solid guy though. He never did wrong by me. I mean, he did eventually tell me like, look, that job doesn't exist and I'm going to, I'll try and get something like that done. I'd like you to keep doing something in that capacity, but I'm really going to have to ask you to spend most of your time doing what you've always done. And I did. I was fine with it. I saw it coming. I mean, it wasn't his fault. He can't magically just like show up and make a position exist that doesn't, But yeah, the writing was on the wall for me. What would you have gone to school for if you'd have stayed in community college after your school job? I was in school at that time hoping to get my LCSW, my licensed clinical social worker. I wanted to be a talk therapist. I read that IT workers are the least happy people in any profession. Well, I don't know, dude. I don't know if that's true or not. I worked with a lot of sour fucks, but we kept ourselves sane. We were in good humor about it, you know what I mean? But yeah, there was a lot of gallows humor going on at the old tech department. None of the teachers ever came on to me on the job. Everybody was always professional with me. Well, there was one thing that happened to me while I was on the job. It was nothing sexual. Well, okay. I'm kind of lying about the teacher thing too, but we'll get to that in a second. The one thing about the job that I considered to be real super duper inappropriate was there was a member of our team. Now, you guys got to realize that like Wilbur, hardcore Christian dude. Most of the people that worked for Wilbur, hardcore Christian people. Most of the people in the little town I live in, hardcore Christian people. It's just the way it works out. But especially at the level that we were at, Wilbur had kind of cultivated the department with people that were also kind of Christian type people. I was the lone exception. And if I wasn't the lone exception, I was the only one I knew of. And so one of the ladies that worked with us was having to get some kind of surgery, a hysterectomy or some kind of lady type surgery. And he was telling us this at a staff meeting, and we were all like, oh, yeah, that sucks, man. And then he goes, well, let's have a prayer. Everybody link hands. And I was like, what? I'm sitting here at work. I've been on the job too. This is like 4 or 5 years into the job. I was like, what? In my mind. In actuality, I just grabbed the sweaty hands of the two fucking dorks that I was sitting in between around the table. And Wilbur gave a whole little litany to God right there in front of everybody about how he hopes that, Josephine is protected over or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? And I was like, and then at the end of it, the sweaty hands let go of mine eventually. And I like wiped my hands on my shirt. And I was like, I just sat there like, do I say something? Ultimately, I didn't. So I guess the answer is no. That didn't happen all that often, but there were times before and after that where there was some Christianage kind of injected into shit that I was like, should I say something about this? Oh, dude, it's not the only time I've been violated by that, dude. You guys want to hear the worst? You guys want to hear the absolute worst time that I have been violated by Christians? Are you ready? You guys ain't even going to believe this one. You ain't even going to believe this one, dude. All right. I've told you guys many, many times that my sister is a hardcore Christian. She's got kids. One of those little kids was having a birthday party, and I was invited to the birthday party. This little kid's favorite place to eat was the Red Lobster. So we were all to meet at the Red Lobster. Now, at this time, I was married, so it was me and my wife were invited to the Red Lobster for this little girl's birthday party at her favorite place. So we show up. We got her a little present. I don't even remember what we got her. We showed up, and there's a butt ton of people there. Her mom and dad, plus her brother and sister. She's got several siblings. Both grandmas and grandpas from both sides of the family are there. An aunt and uncle. They got this giant table set up in the middle of the Red Lobster, and it's all these people. And I'm just like, whoa. And there's 2 spots, one for me and one for my wife. Now, at this point, I'm an atheist. My sister knows this. I know her husband knows this. The kids don't know it because they got no need to know it. I've never told them that. They've never asked. I assume that the other people at the table know it. My wife at the time, she's a Christian, but she's not like a practicing Christian or anything. She's like one of those live and let die type of Christians, right? Doesn't go to church, doesn't really care what you do. So we sit down and the proceedings start. Now, this is a packed-ass restaurant. Like, Red Lobster was popping off in Fresno that day, I guess. Maybe it is all the time. I don't know. I don't go to a lot of Red Lobsters, but I remember it was on a weekend and shit, and there's a bunch of people in there ordering that endless popcorn shrimp or whatever the fuck was going on. It was just packed to the ass, and we're in the middle of it, right? And so we're doing this thing, and the people come in to sing happy birthday to the little girl. And so they do their whatever it is. Have a lobster, lobster birthday. Butter melts on you. Lobster, lobster birthday. You gotta be a lobster too. Hey. You know, and they give her a little cupcake with the sparkler on it or whatever the fuck. That happens, right? Before she eats that, now this is before we've even been brought our food and shit, right? So they start bringing the food around the same time. And there's a prayer. And everybody's linking hands around the table. So once again, I have my wife's hand in one hand, and I'm holding the hand of, I don't even remember who. And whatever, there's a chain around this big-ass table they've got set up for us in the middle of the goddamn restaurant. And there's a prayer, right? So I'm holding hands. Okay, just hold on, dude. Just hold the fuck on. I'm getting to it, Ryan. So at some point, there's a prayer, right? And it's typical, like I'd heard it a bunch of times, but at home when I didn't have to be sitting right in the midst of it when it happened and shit. It's like typical, like, Lord, bless this food and keep it and blah, 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 blah. Bless it to the nourishment of our bodies and yada, yada. Thank you, Father, for you providing all this wonderful food. And thank you for blah, 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 right? And I'm just like, oh. And then at the end of it, the little girl whose birthday it is says, I want to sing a hymn. And everybody at the table but me and my wife laugh. They're all like giggling like it's, but we're all still, now you guys got to keep in mind that we're all still clasping hands. Hands haven't been let go yet. And and before the laughter dies down, the little girl starts singing. And I don't remember what the song was, but it was some old-timey ass Christian hymn thing. And she was little, so it was like way off tune, and it was loud. And it was like, yeah, you know, like the only one I know is Jesus Loves Me, This I Know. And my mom's got a tape of me reportedly before I'm a year old singing Jesus Loves Me, This I Know. So, but it wasn't Jesus Loves Me, This I Know, but it was just like loud. And we were all still clasping hands. And she's like, You know, Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me. And like the whole fucking restaurant. You guys ever hear something loud happen in a restaurant and everything kind of goes quiet and murmury? The whole fucking restaurant was staring at us, and I was like, oh my God. So she sings this whole fucking song, and then finally hands are let go, and I was like, I'd never once in the history of ever felt gross holding my wife's hand. I was like, and then there was like this lobster sitting in front of me or something, or this plate of shrimp that like I couldn't even. I was just like, this whole fucking restaurant thinks we're ridiculous now. And it took a while for the murmurs to turn back into like the normal chatter and clank and fucking, you know, of a real busy like Red Lobster style restaurant. It was like, you would have left the restaurant. We didn't hang out long. I think I ate a few bites and I looked at my wife and was like, you want to, you know, so we said, hey, you know, here's our present for later. No, we got to go. We got another thing or whatever. We made a thing. We made an excuse. So anyway, back to the other question. The second part of the question was there ever a teacher that hit on me? Kind of. There was a kindergarten teacher at one of my schools who is a large African American woman who really liked my hair. She used to like when I let my hair grow out a little bit. She would come and like run her fingers through it and make comments that you could probably like get somebody fired for, but I thought they were pretty funny and they never offended me, so nothing ever happened beyond that. It was all done like right in the break room in front of other teachers who also laughed, so I don't think anybody was uncomfortable about it, but whatever. It was back in the day, you know, when you could make jokes like that and people would laugh about it and you could actually make physical contact and not have it instantly be deemed sexual. Yeah, those restaurants where they sing happy birthday to patrons should be banned out of respect of the other patrons. I think they did them so that people wouldn't do what my family was doing. Like, I think the point was so that people wouldn't like take up 5 minutes singing some long version of the happy birthday song to somebody or break into song anytime they wanted. Like, I think cause you notice they're all short. It's always like, all right, team, let's go. Happy birthday. We all love the crew. Happy birthday from me to you. Hey, you know. Like mariachi bands in a Mexican restaurant. Me too. You and me both, brother. All right. I got to see if this works. I need to stand up. I've been sitting here on my ass for too long and I need to stand up. The answer to the question, does it work? Yes. Is it practical? No. Hey, Paul. Hey, what? Moving like every hour or so decreases your chance of blood clots in your legs. Yeah, that's what. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to do. A standing desk. Oh, yeah. Who doesn't like mariachi bands? Like, honestly, that's what I want to know. Like, who's not cool with mariachi bands? Coworker worked at Applebee's, said he would intentionally stand uncomfortably close to the person when singing. Oh, well, I've had plenty of them do that, so it must have been a meme. $5 for a fart. Fart! That can be done. Thank both of you. I think I'm going to wrap this up. I'm pretty tired. Tired of sitting here at the computer. Tired of these lights in my face. Tired of telling stories. All I did was tell stories tonight. I guess that's good, right? Anyway, I'll let you guys go. Bye.